Hello everyone, this is John for PokerVIP.com, and in this video I'm doing a player review who goes by the name Expert. His name on the forum is Pateoaten, is probably how you would say that. I'm not too sure. You can follow his journey. I'll link that in the description below. And if any of you guys want a player review, also look in the description below. You can get one for free. All you have to do is go over to a forum thread, say you want one, and that's pretty much it. So, looks like we're playing on PokerStars here with a very, I shouldn't say strange, but different setup. I've never seen the skin look like this before. Pretty much stripped to its bare bones, which is just, a player preference. Playing 25NL Zoom, and yeah, we're getting straight into it. So far, he squeezed ace queen, cut and small blind versus cut off and button, totally fine. He went for the check call on the flop, which I do like. Sadly, the turn kind of ruins all action and really puts us in like an annoyingly bad spot where we're kind of just check folding or hoping everyone just checks back. Looks like we actually got pretty lucky there. That guy decided to check top with ace king, and also he didn't 4-bet pre. Aces here, we raised pre-flop, and we're going to go ahead and c-bet the 5-6-7 flop in position. Pretty standard stuff. Aces, easy button open here. Looks like we're playing versus a fish. Sadly, we get a snap fold, but I definitely wouldn't recommend trying to sort of slow play there. Just bet, get some value. Well, raise, get some value, and get some chips in the pot. I don't know much about this player. So it's all new to me. I don't think I've ever done a review for him before, for this site or any others. 25NL is a really good game. 2 to 4 tabling will make you a decent amount of money if you're a winner, and also it's that level which is just before breaking through into the higher of the micro stakes and the lower stakes, 50 and 100 NL. 4-6 here, really just like barreling. No reason to not bet. We're going to get called by worse. Villa might spaz out versus us. So let's just keep on pumping money in the middle. I like the lead on the flop, like the lead on the turn. And then on the river, just a simple bet again. General sort of strat for 25NL Zoom on stars is probably a little bit different to 20NL like speed on iPoker, because the regs are going to be a little bit better here, and also they're going to be a lot more aggressive. So that you need to put a little bit more thought into who you're raising, why you're raising, and so on. Ace 3, pretty easy button open here. Queen 8, we open blind v blind. Yeah, I think a standard c-bet's good there. We could even check call Queen high and the Queen of Hearts, but I think we just make the easy, obvious play by betting. You can even start check raising there just to mix up your game a little bit, as long as you do it with big hands and weak hands, or strong and weak, should I say. The player pool in these games will be massive, 24/7. You'll always be able to get a game. If you want to sign up to stars, go to PokerVIP.com/deals. Queen's under the gun, just very simple 3x, or you could pot it like 3.5x under the gun. All depends on your opening sizes per position. He's got quite an intense HUD, or extensive HUD, should I say. It's just down to the player and what you like. I personally don't use a massive HUD. Maybe that's a leak in my game. I know some people have bigger HUDs than this. And as you can see, he's got a little notepad up there for us. It basically shows everything that he's got on there. And I can also see on his desktop he's got a 3-bet ranges thing. High card blockers, in position, out of position. Really like things like that. Sorry, I've just realised I'm signed into Skype because I'm unprofessional. I do apologise, I've signed out now. Ace Jack here we can definitely defend versus a 3-bet. Calling's probably the more sort of standard obvious line. When we get into four betting, we're going to have a decent reason for it. Now, a pretty straightforward reason is we've got ace high, like button versus small blind, where we're going to get in a lot of these confrontations. And then just further on from there, I'll just pause it here actually for a second. Further on from there, looking at his stats, how often does he 3-bet, how often does he fold to a 4-bet, can we ever get called by worse pre-flop, can we ever get better to fold, and so on. I really like the fact he's betting here. I think once we get a 3-bet, call a flop and get checked to when we're floated, we should be pretty much automatically betting turns if we think we need better hands to fold, or if we kind of even need to protect our hands. Yeah, our hand versus just a random, group of cards which could have equity versus us. So here we could definitely get ace king to fold, we could get ace jack to fold. Hands with equity could be like king jack, king 10, 10 jack, ace fives, ace nines, and so on. So it's basically good for us to just win the hand at showdown here, and also if those worse hands do call us, we do actually get value from them. So if he calls us with a draw that's worse, than ace jack high, by the time we get to the, we're making money. So I like the bet. I think 280 is a pretty good amount as well. And we get snap falls. I think that's just really good, solid, smart poker. A lot of people sort of call and, check the turn, fold the river, or check back the river, and you see that they got there with third or fourth pair or something, or ace king high wins, and you could have taken it down. So definitely fight for these small pots. That's a lot of people ask about their red line. Plays like that will definitely help. Ace 5 here actually go for a check. Basically to control the size of the pot, to get worse hands to bet, and also so we can get 2 streets of value. With a hand like ace 5 and an ace 6 7, we're never really going to get 3 streets of value, unless we obviously improve. Generally we're going to get hands to fold or better hands to call. I do like barreling once we turn the flush draw. Looks like he's going for a bet here, which is interesting. Seems like he thinks a worse hand's going to call. Yeah, I like the check. I guess we have to check fold. Yeah. This is kind of why I'd check the flop. Pretty much just sums up the reasons, why to do so. We can check call that flop, or we can bet turn and bet river if it goes check check. We can do all sorts of things rather than, bet check folding top pair. Small chance we got outplayed there, but it definitely leaves, us open to be outplayed. King 8, really good button open. I personally 2.5 exit, just giving people less odds to call. Also building bigger pots in position versus weaker hands. But min raising's totally fine. Looks like he's plodding along nicely here. Definitely a good player. Pocket 9s versus a massive fish. I'd go for a 3-bet here. If the guy's opening 38% of the time with blind versus blind with a big hand like 9s, I'd be 3-betting and not really thinking about folding. Ace King, I feel like we're against someone who hasn't 3-bet as much, I think his HUD said, so I might just go for a call. But generally, my obvious play would be to 4-bet. I think folding is probably just not an option we can make. Just so I'm hover over it there. I don't think that's good. Even if the guy is a nit, ace king has blockers to aces and kings. It's a hand we need to defend with. If we're going to be folding ace king to a 3-bet, we can get seriously exploited. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that. It's just too cautious. I can understand ace queen off there. Maybe even ace queen suited, but I think ace king we've got to go ahead and at least call. If you want to take the safe route, peel. And I do understand it's kind of one of those horrible things where if you peel, you miss the flop, you kind of have to check fold sometimes. If you hit the flop, it might dull the action down, but we definitely have to defend once opening. Nice hand here on the button, pocket aces. And this is the thing for anyone new out there playing. This is why we keep bet sizes the same, and this is why we open lots of buttons. Basically, opening the button is we're going to get. I'll just pause it for a second. We're going to get a lot of folds, so we're just going to pick up them blinds time and time again. Also, people are eventually going to start playing back at us. and sometimes we will have a hand, such as now. And basically, when you're button versus blinds, you're going to get way less respect because we open so frequently on the button. Because we know people will eventually start playing back at us. That means we eventually have to start playing back at them. So it becomes like a little leveling war, really. But normally it's just hand versus hand. In all truth of it, at these levels, or if someone three bets, they might fall to a four. Here we can definitely think about calling, but to be honest, I kind of like building the pot here, and just getting as much money in as possible. Really, his three bet. I'm not too sure. I'm trying to just look at his HUD here. Fourth line down, 1, 2, 3. It looks like he's 0 over 96 hands, but he's deep. Because we are a little bit deeper, I think it's pretty good for four bet spot. Like I say, we're gonna get less respect, blah blah blah. I sometimes even min raise it here, or make a really small raise, so even smaller than 414. Basically, the idea is to keep it a bit smaller because at the end of the day, if this guy peels out of position, that's fine. Just the last thing we want him to do is folding. And I know this kind of becomes unbalanced, but in these games when people might not be paying attention, might not be good enough to figure you out, might be easy to exploit, we can definitely start just changing our bet sizing slightly depending on the strength of our hand. So basically, the last thing we want him to do is fold. The second thing we want him to do is to call. And the main thing is we want him to, go all in or, 5 betters. So I would say anything under 4 here is a good 4 bet size. Jack King over there as well. Not actually sure what happened. I guess we just min raised the button, and I'd be going for a 77% pot size C bet like he's already got in. 370. I love this sizing. That's perfect, and it's pretty much where I would go. Really, really nice sizing. I mean, you can see there if you're the other guy, just how enticing that will look. We get the jam, we make a call, and yeah, like I said, it's generally just hand versus hand. We need to hold, perfect. $51.18 pot. By coolering someone, and if we're the guy with pocket jacks there, we're probably going all in as well. But great bet sizing, really good logic by him. And he gets the result he wants. Ace-4 here, we could definitely think about squeezing or calling. This might be a decent flop to lead. We can definitely rep boards like this and also just keep barreling into our turn draws, a deuce, a 5, a 6, an ace, a 4, a diamond. All pretty good, turn cards that we can barrel on. Maybe even an ace, gives us the best hand. We can even, just sort of rep a lot of, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks. Straight draws that got in. So maybe a thought there, but I like to do this when it's like a diamond and a lot of runners that we can get, because a lot of time when we do have ace-4 suited and we peel pre-flop, we're actually going to just check fold, the majority of the time. Unless we flop, obviously if we flop an ace, we'll probably see one more street, unless it's on like an ace king queen with no diamonds. If we flop a 4, it's going to be unlikely that we really only be calling out a position if there's 2 overcards to that 4. So to continue, we're kind of hoping to flop a decent combo, draw a flush, 2 pair or trips. So if you've got a leading sort of range there, then that can definitely add to your game and make you some money. Leave a comment there below what you think about leading there. Be interesting. 7-9 suited, definitely a button raise. Jack 7 off, we could open the button, depends who's in the blinds, but probably a hand I automatically fold as a standard play. Jack 5 suited I'd folded a while ago. I think he was just concentrating on someone's HUD. Ace Queen, yep, easy open. As is A7 suited in the cutoff. I'd probably fold it under the gun in mid position, but definitely cut off on button. I would go ahead and raise. And small blind, of course. Deuce 3 just way too wide to open. Pocket 3s and they're going to fold. I open 5s plus. King 8, I would isolate here. Even though the guy is short, I think he's going to limp fold a ton, or maybe limp call out position and fold to a small C bet. Or if we hit a pair, we can go ahead and get value. But it's not the end of the world. It's, not the best hand to do it with, but I kind of just relentlessly isolate people. Really does add a ton of profit onto your bottom line. And as you can see, he's not like super, fold happy. A lot of people get into this routine of just folding, folding, folding. He's hanging around, like as you can see now, he's got King 10 in the small blind. He knows this is a must open. So although we're kind of, missing out on, 10 hands if someone, opens the button in the end, it's definitely a place we're going to make profit and something really good for us to be doing. Because remember, it is still poker. We still need to have opening ranges per position. That was interesting. Generally there I just automatically fold. But he was looking to see what this guy's 4-3 bet was and his opening VPIPs per position, which is really good. 5-6 suited here we can definitely sometimes peel, but folding's fine. 3 bends, probably yeah. I don't really fold or call. I think we 3 bet there just for no reason sometimes. As with this King 9 suited. And the thing with King 9 suited is we can basically win versus hands that dominate us, because we're going to have, we're in control of the pot, we're in position, we're going to win it pre-flop, we can make flushes and straights and draws. But the main aim is to pick it up pre-flop, but it is a fairly okay playable hand post-flop, and, jobs are good. 7-10 suited, definitely borderline in the cutoff. Good to see him looking at the blind stats. I've got to say, this is one of the best players I've done a review for. Like I say, I can't actually remember what his graph looks like. I'm going to guess he's a beast. I think he can crush these games all day long. But he thinks, and you can see him thinking, and you can see what he's thinking and why. He's thinking one street ahead. He's understanding ranges. He's got this massive HUD. Which again, I mean, it makes him money, but it might not make you money. So just do whatever suits you the best. Ace 10 here, I think we can generally just call versus a nit. Yep, nice. A6, good flop to leave it on. We're going to win this a lot of the time. Great sizing, perfect sizing. Ace 10, just a pretty easy call. We're going to get barreled versus, barreled a lot, here. I might think about checking here, because we're generally going to get like one street of value. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of folds. That's my only problem. Unless the guy's got, a pocket pair pre-flop that he's going to get stubborn with, or the guy is going to king high us. Sometimes I might check there, remember we have just peeled. It looks like we just floated the flop. We check the turn, which, he probably thinks means we have nothing. So he might, be induced to sort of leading that river and repping the ace himself, or he might, check call us with king high on the river, which he wouldn't actually do on the turn, or his pocket pairs. 2 easy folds. Jack 5 there is hanging around. I would have automatically folded that. Jack 5 suited, we can definitely think about why and for what reason, so on. King Jack off, undergun +1 or mid position as he has it. Yeah, probably an open. A standard open. Get led into here with a6. I'd probably just flat. I guess he's raising for 2 things, value and protection. He doesn't want this guy to have like 8-9 and just ping off an 8 or a 9 or something. Or, one of those kind of just random any two card hands, which has 2 overs versus our 6. We get called. So this guy's repping like a 6 or better. I don't think the guy has 5s too often. I doubt he has a jack too often, so maybe we folded a bit too quick there. Because, what's this guy all of a sudden, betting on that river? I think he might have had the same hand or a bluff sometimes there. Not a bad fold, but just maybe worth an extra second or two thought. And that's kind of why I would personally just flat the flop in position. Just happy days. Looks like we decided to 3-bet King Queen here. We should definitely be mixing up calling and 3-betting. Versus two opponents, I think, yeah, just a standard C-bet. Top pair, Queen Kicker, backdoor clubs. If this guy has a speed, that means he's got King Jack or deuces, because he's probably going to 4-bet Jacks pre. I would slow down here. Definitely can have a jack in his range. We can definitely get this guy to bet all his draws. If we bet and get raised, we just get put in a real hurt locker. So I'd go for a check call line. Not happy about it, but not folding. Like I say, I think this guy is going to bet worse kings. Possibly he's going to bet, ace tens, ace queens, queen tens, nine tens, two clubs. Yeah, we got a bit lucky there that he checked, because that's a really tough spot on the river, which I think is actually probably a check fold spot. Ace 10, I generally just peel, but this guy is a fish, so I think we can 3-bet. Peeling is just an easy thing to do, but once someone's opening so often and they're just going to be calling, with the worst of it all the time, we just get pre-flop value and can get post-flop value, have initiative, and win by hitting, win by missing. Pocket nines looks like we 3-bet the loose opener under the gun, which is fine, and we decide to go for a check line. I guess he would check call the flop and not be too happy about it, but kind of a must, because these people will stab. I would call once. I don't think I'd snap fold there, even though there are 3 overs, which might sound crazy. The guy can definitely have us crushed, but a lot of times they will stab when they get checked to, and that's the reason why we check to them. Sometimes with our mid-strength to stronger hands. Queen 7 suited goes for a 3-bet. Fine, oh fine. Get called forward, which sucks. And sorry there that the pocket nines hand, like I say, I mean it is fine to check fold, but I think maybe just be a little bit cautious there on if we are checking, these fish will stab at it as would we with nothing. Not that we have nothing there a lot. I guess it's fine. Maybe I'm just talking myself into a corner on that one, because we probably wouldn't check our big hands versus a fish. We'd just go for pure value on 3 streets. So probably is a good check fold the more I think about it, or we could just bet the flop and represent that board anyway. Maybe that's the bet line. Yeah, I think this is just a fist pump 4-bet. Wow, look at this, he's checking graphs out and everything. I love this guy. Wow, he's gone for a fold again. I think we're folding ace king too often here versus random 3-bets. Because also, as well, it looks like, I guess the blue number next to the name's like the hands we've got on these people, so we kind of just don't even have that many stats to go off it. So I'd kind of just treat them as I would think they would play. Ace 8 there was definitely a float. Ace high is going to be good a turn, we can improve on the turn, we can bet the turn when checked to, and so on. Maybe because he just folded ace king, he wasn't concentrating as hard. Jack queen, yeah, c-betting's fine. It's kind of one of those boards you want to give up on when someone peels out the small blind, because they've generally just got pairs. So you kind of just feel a bit sucky when you get check raised like we have, but I think c-bet's pretty standard. We do it with all our big made hands and draws, so we should do it with fire air as well. Guy goes all in, we just make it fold. Yeah, I'd definitely be isolating here. 4x, perfect. 10 jack's a really nice hand to do it with. Just going to pick it up pre-flop a lot. And, win post-flop a ton. And yeah, just like that. Just makes 2.5 bigs from picking up the blinds and the limp. Ace 8 here, we can look at 3-betting, but I think a fold standard, as he did. Yep, some very easy folds going on. A6 suited under the gun I think is way too wide. I open ace 4 and ace 5 suited, then ace 10 suited plus. King 8 on the button's fine. Ace 6 suited, I just check fold these flops. Kind of hit someone's calling range right in the face. Even if they don't have a made hand, they're going to have a draw a lot, you know. Flush draw, gut shots, you know, up and down straight draws. I think we generally get like really small pairs to fold there. And that's about it. Because if you've got king queen, you should call. Same with ace queen, jack king, 7 8, 8 9s, 9 10s, 10 jacks, queen 10s, jack queens. You know, 6 7s even. You know, you can float us with. So I think we're getting pretty lucky when we get an instant fold there. And I guess he folds, you know, his a6 like we have. Ace 10 in the cutoff, very easy open. Interesting opening size there. If you could actually just leave a comment below on your opening sizes and why you think they're the best for you. I'm not saying they're wrong or anything, just it'd be interesting to see why. I'm always quite nosy. Seems like other people use that same size as well, so maybe it's just a bit of a game flow thing. 8-9 suited under the gun +1 on mid position, totally fine. Queen 4 suited a little bit too wide here. Yeah. Ace Queen, dead easy. I'm sure we all know to play that from every single position. One of those really easy pre-flop hands. We bet the jack 6-6. I'd be barreling this turn, basically to get him to fold, you know, deuces, 3s, 4s, 5s, 7s, 8s, 9s. And even hands have equity versus us. Looks like the guy just decided to play a7 off like an absolute hero, so happy days for us. Ace King, another one of those beautiful hands that always very easy to play. Now this will be an interesting spot with jacks. Limp under the gun, pot size raised by someone who's, you know, deep. Instant call by null. I would probably be going for a squeeze. I just don't want to call and be out of position versus 3 players. I think null, if he got in versus us, he's going to have worst hand like ace queen, ace king, or 10s. And I think we are basically going to be check folding a lot with jacks and just finding it really hard to play post flop even when there's 3 unders. It's a shame we didn't watch that one. It would have been interesting, but I think that's sort of a spot where we can squeeze because you know people are going to isolate a lot. 4-5 suited, I'd definitely peel. Two good cut-off opens here. And again, if you want to play a review, hit the forum link below and leave your name. I'll send you the instructions, the recording software, all dead easy to do. Just a few clicks and a bit of playing. You don't have to commentate, you don't have to do anything apart from click record, send it to me, and get a free coaching review. 8-10 here is kind of one of those spots I kind of want to give up on as well, because you know when someone cold calls, they're going to have a lot of these sort of hands, you know, pocket pairs. But we do get all these broadways to fold, as long as they're not suited broadways. So it's fine. Just sometimes I feel like checking back. Okay, so looks like he's sat out there. So we'll call that a video. So all I can say is great player. Super impressed. Like I say, probably the best player I've done a review for, possibly. I just really like his logic, his bet sizing, his use of hoods. You know, looking at notes, looking at the graphs. Really thinking about the hand one street ahead. He definitely has leaks, and those leaks are actually minor, but add them all together and they could equal a major. So I think we need to look at leading ranges. Only happened once, not a big deal. That's probably the smallest leak of it all, and probably not even a leak, just a little idea I had. Defending, big blind versus small blind, big blind versus button, hands to defend with pre-flop, and how to play post-flop, you know, floating the flop, thinking about what they could have, what we would have in their position, and, you know, what will happen on the turn. So if we call with ace-8 on a 4-4-5, we're going to be ahead just a ton of the time there because people open X percentage at the time in the small blind and c-bet X percentage, and so on. Also, what else was there? A couple of positional opening hands which I would have folded. Anything I'm missing? Just everything I spoke of, really. Everything negative I mentioned, just, you know, look at working. When I say negative, it's not like a nasty negative. It's just, you know, a little hand I might have played differently. Bet sizing I might have thought of. Floating here, defending here. Rating flop textures. Just sometimes thinking if someone calls from a small blind versus an undergun open, and it comes, you know, 5-6-8, and we've got queen high, sometimes we can just give up on it. Also, pot controlling, we had that ace-5 suited hand where we bet, check, folded. Just think about what they can have there, what we're achieving by betting, how many streets of value we can get as well as another thing. Sometimes people just go for 3 streets and think they're going to get it because someone will have the second best hand, which will be big enough to call us, when if you really think about it, they're probably going to have the second best hand with hands that can only call 2 streets. So getting 2 streets of good value is better than getting 1 street, which obviously makes sense and obviously annoys players a little bit more when they give away more money than they would hope to. So anyway, this was Jon for PokerVIP. This was Experts Review, who goes by Pateoaten on the forum. PokerVIP.com/deals. Sign up to PokerStars. Check out the forum and good luck at the tables.